Okay. So, welcome everyone. This is a Victim-Perpetrator collective, Victim-Perpetrator Dynamic Collective Constellation. My name is Michal Gaia Golan. I am a Constellation facilitator residing in Israel. Rasada, please introduce yourself.
I am an invited lab facilitator and constellator, and I'm grateful to be here to help facilitate and learn. And I'm in Johannesburg, South Africa.
Exactly. So we are both students of spiritual teacher Thomas Hubel, whose main work is around healing collective trauma. And we completed a 2-year program that is called Collective Trauma Facilitator Training, where the second year was devoted to facilitating international labs, exploring the different topics of collective trauma. All the participants in this constellation come from a group who work together throughout 2024 on the topic of victim-perpetrator dynamics as a collective shared principle. So it was not a lab about a specific story of collective trauma, but about the dynamics of victim-perpetrator as an archetypal energy, so to speak. And this constellation will attempt at exploring the dynamics between victims and perpetrators more as an archetypal phenomena rather than a specific narrative. The dynamics, I just want to mention the dynamics of victims and perpetrators in systemic constellation is very well documented. However, in most cases, these constellations are and were set around a specific trauma narrative. By creating this intentional space together, we enter this experiment with curiosity, but also with no expectations. In other ways, we have no idea if it will make any sense, but we will see together. And thank you for everyone who has showed up here. I really, really appreciate your willingness to explore this together as you have done all year around. So we will use this application that is called Let's Constellate. It's a free to use application that was created in Israel. And you will see how it works. And the first really, I think the first representation that we want to bring into the field as an anchor would be the light. So I'm asking if there's anyone among you who feel drawn to come and be the light, represent the light. If you do, just open your mic and say.
I do.
Who is that?
Karen?
Hi, Karen.
Hi.
Thank you.
I'd
So
like to.
thank you. You know how to change your name?
I do.
So please do so, and then tell us which shape and which color you'd like to bring in as the light.
I think a circle and a pink one, the darker pink one.
Mm-hmm. And Whereabouts on the field you want to be standing?
Rasada, she wants the darker pink that is.
Oh, the darker pink, sorry, thanks.
Yeah, and if you want them to be, if you want the color to stay on the screen, you have to double click it. So you're not moving it from the screen.
Are you telling me to do something that I don't understand?
Yes, you just
don't mind.
pulled the color pink from the palette,
Yeah,
but you need to double click in order for the palette to stay the same, and so you can bring it in and still, or you
have it
can
available.
press Command D, and it will do the same thing.
Okay, I'll work that out.
Okay.
And if it could be a little in the center,
Gotcha. And facing anyway, or that's okay for now, eh?
I think that's okay for now.
Great, thank you.
She wanted it in the center.
I don't know, my center can be very different to yours, so you have to
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
set it up
better. Just a little bit more over.
to the right, eh?
Yeah,
Good like that?
a little bit more. That's good enough.
Thank you.
That's perfect.
Okay,
And the size is okay?
A little bit bigger.
A little bit bigger.
gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
that feels better.
And you know, right, you can write the light inside. So Karen, you just tune in now to this role. This is your cosmic address that you are anchoring here. And just let your body feel what it feels like to be in the center as the light. You don't have to say anything right now, but just take your time to tune in. Mm. So I'd like to bring in a representation for ancestors. And maybe we will have at least 2 people representing ancestors. So see if you're drawn.
I
Yeah.
can do one of them.
Okay,
And Suzanne and Eve.
okay.
Oh, sorry.
So
Sorry.
then you tell us, Eve, which color and which shape?
Can I do the square that is the mint blue green that's in the second row? Yeah. And let's put that in the lower right hand corner with the point facing up. Or the V facing up, I mean, yeah.
That's
And a little bit
close
bigger.
enough. Sorry, little bigger.
A little bigger?
That's one
Yeah,
ancestor.
that's fine.
And then if you know how to change your name, to rename yourself, say ancestor. Ancestor 1. And who else said they wanted?
I said I wanted.
Paulina. Okay. So Paulina, same here. What color, what shape?
I would like a circle, the light yellow circle, the third one in the first row. The third one on the right. This one, yes.
This one.
Yes. And I would like it to be on the top. Yes, with the facing down.
Above the light, or
No, actually on the other facing the other ancestors.
okay. You got it. And the size is okay, or also a little bigger?
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you.
Okay.
So this is ancestor 2, and you do the same. You just choose to rename yourself. For whatever reason, Rasada, we see those very small. So this is, I see it very small. I don't know what other people are seeing. So
Should
we,
look. How's that?
this is big. That's much better. This is much
Better
better.
for everyone. Better for everyone. It just grew a bit, yeah?
Mhm.
Okay. Please, it's good you tell me. I'm trying my best and I'm pretty fast, but I'm getting there.
Okay, so let's take now a moment to just tune in. And both of you ancestors, ancestor 1, ancestor 2, you tune in to your cosmic address and you let yourself feel what is present for you. And I'm going back to Karen and ask Karen how she feels as the light. So let us know what's going on for you.
I'm just feeling a burning in my heart. And I could feel when the ancestors came in, I could feel something shift and get larger. And I feel a hole in my heart.
Mm.
And steadiness. I feel a lot of steadiness the more space it gets.
Mm-hmm.
And I can really feel this in my body.
Mm. Thank you. If any one of your representatives feel an urgency to say something, just raise your virtual hand. Ancestor 1. How does Ancestor 1 feels? What are you aware of?
I felt a widening and like much more seriousness and grounding sensation, and just feels a little more deep and wide, bigger. That I felt that shift when all of us started to tune into the three being there.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about the other ancestor and about the light?
Feel nervous with the other ancestor. I feel a sense of like being over a mountaintop or something, or this sense of like a big arc that's between us, and that there's some suspension in that arc that's between us. So it doesn't feel like a direct line, but it feels more like it's like pulled up. And it makes it this tenuous sensation about it. So it doesn't feel settled yet. But I feel like as we continue in this experiential that it will feel more settled. With the light, I feel much more directness and a sense of like almost pushing into me and much more contact.
Mm. Ancestor 2, thank you. Ancestor 1. Ancestor 2.
I feel my heart very strongly. When the light was sharing, I was feeling my heart going really fast. The left side of my chest, specifically, and to a point of pain. But right now it's been more stable and more calm, but I can still feel something in my heart. A bit of a burden, something heavy.
Mm. Thank you. Rasada, you have something to ask or comment?
Good. Thank you. Just I'm loving the field.
Mm. How do you feel, Rasada, about bringing the victims now?
Yeah, feels right. Absolutely right.
Okay, so we are asking for maybe 2 or 3, at least 2, but preferably 3 people who want to represent victims. Gita, you want to represent? Okay. Thank you, Gita. So Gita, please, you tell us which shape and which color and where to place it.
I would choose, what is it? This kind of dark violet, like on the right in the lowest line, in the round ones, with the round ones. All that, yeah, that one. No, that dark violet one that you just touched before.
This one.
Exactly that one.
This is brown.
Brown,
Oh,
it's
brown. Okay, it looks violet on my screen. No,
okay.
it's okay.
And where about?
And move it to the bottom right. Kind of.
Closer
Can-
to ancestor or closer to the light? Or?
Can you go even? I have a lot of space further to the right than the ancestors.
Yeah, me too. I have.
Ah, yeah, exactly. Exactly. And even lower a bit. Yeah, okay, that's fine.
And
Yeah.
facing which way?
Facing kind of diagonally to the right, like diagonal, like a little upwards and then right.
Like that. Diagonal. To the
Yeah, about. Maybe a little more to the right, like.
A little more that way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good, good.
Thanks.
Oh, and I'm.
And how is the size for you?
Could be a bit larger as well. Yeah, thank you. Ooh, it's getting strong.
So you stay with this wall and you are its cosmic address, and you just stay connected to it, and you tell us what it feels like. We'll get back to you.
Mhm.
Who else wants to represent a victim? Or is volunteering? I don't know if you want to, but if you're volunteering to represent the victims.
Ain.
Heine?
Yep. She's just unmuting. There she comes.
Yeah. Yeah, because I just started feeling all this in my body when I was tuning into the victim. My body was starting to tremble and my legs to feel weak. And so I thought maybe this is
Perfect. Do you want to choose a symbol?
okay. I think the black square, and to face it down on the left bottom.
In line with the ancestor?
Yeah,
It
but facing down.
Down.
Yeah.
You got it.
So ancestor, thank you, Heine. Before we continue, I'd like to check with ancestor 1, who has now 2 victims on each side of them, and see how you
Okay.
respond to that.
My foot started to cramp and my body got a little tighter like this. And I was like, maybe I need to go plug my phone in. Or I felt a little more restless,
Mhm.
a little bit more tension moving through me. And I thought it was interesting because I was debating doing the victim role here.
Mm.
So now I feel some of that energy anyway.
Thank you. Heine, do you know how to rename yourself?
Yeah, I'm
Mm.
just doing it.
Great. Is there anyone else who would wish to volunteer for a role of a victim or another ancestor?
Can I just have a request?
Mhm.
Yes.
Boy, I really feel a need to look further away. Could you, Rasada,
So,
could you
victim
turn
one,
my,
you want to look more to the right? You want to turn
yeah,
away
look more to the
to
right.
No problem, no problem. I understand.
Great.
Yeah,
Mm.
good.
Yeah, it's better. It's okay. It could be diagonal a little bit up, but yeah, just
Okay. Little bit.
not the position is good. Just the looking, the direction of the
Looking a little
looking
bit to the
could
up.
be just have a little angle, but
Yeah.
just a little bit less than you. Yeah, exactly. Ah, thank you.
It's
Right.
interesting how this resonates, right?
Mm.
You kind of, without understanding, you just feel it in your body.
Mm.
I would volunteer for another ancestor if it's that what you asked for.
I was asking
Pardon?
who is speaking?
You were asking for another victim or ancestor? That's what I...
Just don't see who is
It's
speaking.
Suzanne.
Susanne.
Yeah. Okay. Wait.
I would volunteer for another ancestor if this was the question.
Yes, you can come back.
Yes. Mhm.
your ancestor, and you tell us which shape and which color and what is the position.
The square brown one,
The bottom right.
exactly. And move it up on the left side. Mhm.
Uh-huh.
A little bit further to the left, perhaps a little bit more. Yeah.
And where are you facing?
Mm. Down almost to the light, but a little bit like passing the light on the upper side. Yes. No, as it was before.
Opposite.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Perhaps a little bit bigger. Yeah,
You're a big ancestor.
thank you.
So you now rename yourself as
Mm.
Ancestor 3. Great, thank you. Okay, so we check in with the two victims, victim 1 and victim 2, and see how you're feeling. Victim 1 first.
I immediately felt like a huge burden on my heart, like a constriction. And I had to breathe really like heavily. And it was hard for me it was getting better when I could look away a bit more, when Rasada turned that around. It was hard for me to be facing inward kind of. And I think now that the last ancestor entered the picture, I'm feeling a bit of relief and a bit of as though there is something that's helping or that's holding me. As though the last ancestor there is giving me some grounds. It's like I'm more in my legs now. But it's still I'm not feeling good. I'm really not feeling good. It's still very tight in my chest. Yeah.
Thank you. And victim 2?
I'm feeling a lot of jerks in my body, spasms and weakness in my legs. And I'm kind of bending over a bit, falling over a bit.
Yes. How does the light feel, Karen?
Yeah,
Light?
I need the light to be pointing more up, the V. A little bit more.
Okay. A little bit. How's that?
A little bit more. It feels more like straight up right now.
Okay.
I'm perfect. I'm also really feeling the ancestors. They're like magnetizing me. That's when I think it's ancestor 2 turned that way. I felt it. And with ancestor 3, I just felt troubled. That's came in, and I feel burning in my heart. Not all of it, but most of it. There's a space that's I feel nothing.
Mm.
And also feeling wider and narrower at the same time. But again, I'm very focused on the 3, and especially the 3 ancestors, and especially number 3.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, do you have a sense, Rasada? Because I think I want to, my sense is to bring perpetrator energy before perpetrators. Okay,
Yeah, I can follow. Can follow.
Okay, that's me. I'm
That's-
perpetrator. Yeah.
your perpetrator energy?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so you come in and you choose a shape and a color.
I'm choosing the orange square.
And when
And
you
I want to go above the light, kind of in the same the same plane there exactly. But significantly larger, like probably twice as large as the light. even a little bit bigger than that if it goes bigger. And facing towards the light and kind of the field. A little bit higher up now. Slightly higher. There we go. Exactly. No, actually, just like, sorry to be a nuisance. One smidge lower. There we go. Exactly. And maybe even a bit bigger.
Me say perpetrator.
Oh, and I'll rename myself. Hang on.
right,
Mm.
Yeah.
Energy. You want to be a smidgen bigger, smaller? I missed the last instruction.
Oh, I was saying, no, you know what? I think it could be just like a smidge bigger. There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
and just you also tune in and stay connected to your cosmic address, which is deep in the collective unconscious of humanity. And you let us know.
How I'm feeling? Is that what
Yes.
you were asking? Yeah. So first of all, like ice cold. And I was tuning into this from the beginning because I knew this was the one that was coming for me. And just ice cold. And then very much kind of sort of held inside my body in a very kind of tense, cold way, like holding in, like clenching, but like as a full body clench. And with lots of different emotions, though, kind of being held within that, which is a mixture of fear and sadness. Yeah, actually a lot of sadness. And just like that sense of like really held in a protective way. And also just with regard to everything else on the field, that light blue ancestor square down there that's protecting those victims. It's funny because I have been tuning into this energy from the beginning. And with regard to that, as soon as you said, how does that light blue ancestor feel when the victims place themselves? I felt a real connection with that ancestor and a very strong sense of protection, like a protective energy against those ancestors. So I feel like really linked to that ancestor.
Let me clarify just so I understand. So you are saying protective energy against the ancestors or
No, no, no. I'm feeling even though I've been clear about being the perpetrator energy in this exercise as soon as you mentioned it, and the ancestors came on board, and then I think the victims came afterwards. I don't actually remember the order, and you asked the blue ancestor, the light blue ancestor, how it felt. I felt a connection with that light blue ancestor and a protective energy towards the victims.
Towards the victims.
Towards those two victims next to the ancestor, the dark brown one and the royal blue one. I felt like this protective energy towards those two victims. Yeah.
I think it's important. Sometimes there are like paradoxes in this.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, yes. I just am noting that because it was actually quite a strong sense, even though I'm the perpetrator energy.
Right.
Mm.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
What happens to the light now?
It's like fire in my heart. The bigger that the perpetrator energy got, the bigger the heat got inside my body. And I think I was referring to the victims as ancestors when I was speaking before, because it's the three victims that I have had a connection with. But right now, I'm just really focused with the perpetrator energy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you could make me a little bigger. And I just need to be adjusted just a couple moves to the right. No, the V.
Face, the
Yeah.
that you're looking, how's that?
But you return her to where she was, but you just not to look right directly at the.
Okay.
And just one more turn.
Good enough?
Good enough.
Mm.
Mm.
And I'm having a little bit of a feeling of what I'm translating to be anger.
Mm. I am wondering.
Yeah.
Yeah, before ancestor. Okay, let's take ancestor 2 comment. Yes, ancestor 2.
So since we added victims, but especially when the perpetrator energy joined, I just have been feeling waves of coldness, like different currents within the same ocean. It's hitting me from different sides, the coldness. And I'm still feeling something really, a hurt in my heart. Right now, it's in the middle. It's pretty deep. And I also felt tension in my right shoulder and back.
And you are the ancestor that is at the top, right? The yellow?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm just saying so that it's not so readable. Good. So victim 2 raised their hands, yes.
Yeah. When the light changed its position first to being upright, I really felt like, yes, it needs to be upright and just perfectly upright. And then I felt so much better when it was perfectly upright. And then when the perpetrator came, it was so big. I wanted I felt the light needs to be really big. It feels like still the light needs to be bigger. And but it seems okay with the position of the V. But before it felt very important that it should be straight up. So,
Thank you. Ancestor 3.
I felt quite steady on my ground from the beginning, but kind of nervous a bit, as if something would unfold. Then it was good that the light was mentioned, and then when the perpetrator came in, astonishingly, I really felt clarity coming in. For me, it was kind of a settling down of this sensation of nervousness or not knowing what to come. It kind of felt like settling in and a lot of clarity feeling. And for me, it's a bit of a pity that the light is looking now a bit more away from my position. It was kind of weakening me a bit when the light was moving the direction of looking. That's what was happening to me. Thanks.
Before I ask more, I would want to share that before I bring perpetrators in, I am thinking that we may need another resource. What do you think, Rasada?
You never have enough resource. Resource is good.
So the question is, what is the resource? If we need to know, if anybody has a sense or impulse about it, I would like you to write it in the chat. Another light is one idea. Water. Non-human nature. Grounding energy. Yeah, I think my impulse was also grounding energy. And Mother Earth. So this is the third comment. So let's see if we can, thank you. Let's see if we can have a representation for, it can be Earth or Mother Earth or the ground. If anybody who is not representing yet feels drawn to come in as the representation of Earth. Ground.
I think that would be me.
Thank you, Melissa. And so you let us know color and which shape.
Well, it sounds a little trite, but green circle.
Green circle.
Yeah. Maybe obvious. And it goes exactly, it goes down lower. Even a little further. Maybe toward the bottom. Lower. Can it go lower than that?
Yeah.
There you go. And bigger. There you go. And I'm not sure yet which way it faces. It's either up or down. Could we maybe try down and see if that feels
down. Oh, so I shouldn't be talking.
I like the input. Yeah, let me just stay with that for now.
And are you Mother Earth or ground or?
I think ground.
It's like I have a feeling like I want to write it in Hebrew because word in Hebrew is Adama, which is the name for men, and the letter H, which is also the letter that describes God. So Adama is like beautiful Hebrew word. So what does it do to anyone right now? So let's start with light. What does the light feel?
As soon as the grounding came in, it's to expand the light, to make it bigger.
So the light wants to be bigger now. Okay.
Yeah.
And literally, you need me to expand the
Yeah.
light?
Yeah. Bigger. A little bit more. And good. And can you move it just one over that way to the left?
To the left.
The V.
The
Where
V.
you you can leave it where it is. Yeah. And the light also feels a sense of purpose. And again, the burning, the fire.
Thank you. Ancestor 2, you wanted to share something?
Yes, I wanted to share that because I felt really cold, and then when the light changed towards me, it just felt like it was warming me. And I feel like the circle could be a bit bigger and turned more into light's direction. The yellow one, the yellow on the top.
The 2 is the yellow.
The yellow can get a bit bigger
Yeah.
and change direction which way?
Face towards the light. Yeah. Thank you.
Pleasure.
And ancestor 3.
I need to be bigger.
Ancestor 3 is the brown at the top.
The brown, yes. Yep, perfect. And direction a little bit lower, a little bit more to the, yeah, yes, yeah. Thanks.
Okay. So now I feel more grounded in bringing representatives for perpetrators.
Okay.
I want to hear from Timothy because you are not representing yet. So Timothy, yes?
Just volunteering, pretty clear about perpetrator placement. I can step in for that.
Okay. So tell us which shape and which color.
Like a square in the lavender square, second row down, third one, that one, yep. And I'd like it about just placed above victim 2. Right there, and increase the size, looking at victim 2. That's good. And then looking directly at victim 2. And then covering the lower left corner of my square covers victim 2 just a little bit, like it's kind of like, or maybe like almost touching victim 2, but not. So just kind of like lower, keep getting a little closer and to the right a little bit, and then up a little bit.
Almost touching, like that?
Yeah. Yeah. And now a little bit bigger Yes. Yes.
And
Mhm.
you are perpetrator 1.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you. Tune into your cosmic address. And victim 2 also
Want to
tunes.
be bigger.
You are speaking now, and you say what?
I want to be bigger.
You want to be bigger.
Same as perpetrator, bigger than perpetrator.
That's okay. And I want the green circle to be much bigger as well.
That you cannot do. That
Oh,
is, you
okay.
can.
What I would like, that's what I would like.
That it gets bigger, but we will get back to Earth and the ground, and we will find out if it wants that to be bigger.
Can I say something? Can I say something about how I'm feeling since
Wait a
this?
second.
Okay.
I'll just raise your hand so I see that you want to speak.
Okay. Okay, sure.
Yeah. So everybody is now activated. You see, that's like that's causing some kind of like responses now. If there is anyone who wants to enter as another perpetrator, please let us know now. Anybody who is willing to come as another perpetrator. So I will open the space for it if it shows up. If somebody wants to show up as another victim, you can also raise your hand and say that. And we will start with perpetrator energy.
Okay, do you want me to say how I'm feeling? Is that the idea?
Yes.
So so I had been feeling like this really kind of intensity, held in tightness experience that was, and I couldn't feel any, it's very linear. It's like, and I couldn't feel, there was something blocking me strongly from feeling any connection with any of the other parts. But then when you brought the earth in, I really wanted that. And I felt like immediately was almost like clinging on to the earth as a connection, and sort of, and when you brought in the perpetrator, the energy from me was just really now moving down, attached to the earth and grounding down into the earth. Like it felt actually kind of really good, like a place for the energy to go, and it's moving downwards through my body, even though it's still really tense. And it's not as if it's like some kind of, river flow. There is like this tension that's really strong, that's moving downwards into the earth and really grounding. Like that's what it feels like. So I guess, and weirdly, because I don't know what this means as perpetrator energy to be saying this, but I also have that feeling that it would be, I'd be happy if the green was bigger, because it's like this, it's a place for this energy to go.
Did you say that do you want to stay in your location, or you want to get closer to the earth?
I'd move a bit closer to, I wouldn't go beneath the light, but I'd move closer to where the light is, sort of closer to the middle. Yes, I'd be ready to do that.
Okay.
To even be a bit closer to the light there, just to get closer to the earth.
Mm-hmm.
One more notch down. Perfect, yeah. Oh, now I feel warmed by the light.
Mm-hmm. I want to speak to victim 2. Thank you, perpetrator.
Thank you.
And victim 2.
Yes, I want to move away from under perpetrator, I want to move to the left and I want to be much bigger.
Okay, like that. Did I get it right?
Yeah, move it away. I don't want to be touching it. And it can even move a bit further away.
Sorry,
And
I just
even further away.
Mm-hmm.
tell me when to stop. Some more?
Yeah, another bit. Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Sure.
So before I ask all of you who raised hands, and because of this movement right now, I would really like to bring in another representative for victim consciousness. Which
I
is,
would like to.
you'd like that, Zelan?
Yeah, I would like to volunteer for victim consciousness. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us which shape and which color.
Well, green circle. I think the one in the fourth row, second to the right.
Yeah, that mint
Yeah,
one.
that one. Yeah, that mint one. Yes.
And where would you like to be placed?
Yeah, if you can put it on the right. Yeah. Further away from the sun, from the light, and make it really big. Yeah, bigger, even bigger. Yeah.
And where is it looking?
It is looking towards the light and towards the lower part of the picture. Yeah, and put it even bigger. Yeah, I want it even bigger. Yeah, maybe even more bigger.
Consciousness, what do I call it? Victim consciousness.
Victim consciousness, yeah.
Yes. And I cannot rename myself, my name. So if you can do it for me, I will be grateful.
I will do it for you.
Thank you.
Happiness.
Okay, so there is a lot of energy now in this field, and I'm still waiting for another perpetrator to show up, but we will ask Ancestor 3 and then Ancestor 1 and then Perpetrator 1, okay? And then we'll go to the victims again. So Ancestor 3.
Thank you. There were several steps going on. Shall I share all of them?
Let's start with what is really present for you right now.
Now, as the victim consciousness was brought in and is getting so big, I feel like it's getting really difficult for me. Before that, I felt drawn to be closer to the first victim perpetrator constellation, the two of them, and witness them and support them. But now as the victim consciousness comes in, it kind of really heavy breathing. I have difficulties to stay grounded and keep my steadiness that I felt over the whole time. And kind of checking what could be supportive for me.
Do you know?
I think it's still being bigger. That's what I wanted to ask before also, being bigger. Yeah, stop. And perhaps a little bit down. Yep. And there's something else I can't grasp.
You said before 2 sentences that you are tuning into what might be helpful for you or
Mm-hmm.
you. So stay attuned to that and see if something comes to you about what can support you, and wait for this to come. Don't force it.
Yeah, there is still the impulse that that I need to look further down as a witness to the situation between, I think it's victim 2 and the perpetrator.
No.
Yes, almost. Let me check. Let me check. Yep, that feels appropriate.
Okay, so
And it's not very nice, but it feels appropriate, and in this way I feel more grounded now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sister 1.
Thank you. When Ancestor 3 just shifted, that really helped too. Like I feel like everything got a lot more clear and more organized somehow. But for mine, I'd like to make my shape bigger, please. And I'd like to move it to the right so that it's more directly underneath victim consciousness and a little bit down to slightly lower. And a little bit to the left. So I can touch the left. A little bit more to the left. Yeah. That's good. And then a little bit bigger. And a little bit further down. And then just angle it to the left slightly, like so that the mouth or that's looking between victim consciousness and the light.
Oops.
Yeah. Oh.
No, it went wrong. Sorry. I'm there. I'm getting there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you could just move it, that diagonal left down a little bit, the whole thing. Yeah. I think that's good. Yeah. And just a little bit bigger.
Amazing, these little
That's
shifts.
good. Yeah. I feel better.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ancestor 1. Perpetrator.
Okay, Perpetrator 1, please make the size of Perpetrator 1 equal to Victim 2, but not bigger, not even one little bit bigger, same exact size. Okay, now up just a little bit. Keep going right there, right there. Now looking directly at Victim 2. turn a little farther. Okay, very good. And because the perpetrator one wants to be like fill the space where the light and the earth are looking away from each other. Perpetrator one wants to, no, don't move it yet, just, but wants to fill that space, but also wants to be focused on victim two in the dance of energy and intensity. So I think that's about right, but it's strange that perpetrator one does not want to be bigger than victim two, just wants to be up to and including the equal size. So I think, but now that I look at it, perpetrator one does want to be a little bit bigger, but not too much. So just a little bit bigger. Yes. So pull, once again, perpetrator one is pulled both towards victim and towards the space in between the light and the earth where they're looking apart. So it's kind of pulled in two directions. But that, I think, gets it. Thank you.
Thank you, Timothy.
Thank you. I was going to call upon Ground to speak, but you are showing up by yourself. So first I will speak to victim one who has not spoken for a while, and then we will see. Yes, victim one.
Yeah, there were few moves. One thing is that I feel a very strong connection to perpetrator consciousness. When that came in, it was even like, oh, we belong to one another in a way. And I don't like the victim consciousness. It's in my way. So
what do you want? You want to look at perpetrator energy? You want to?
I don't think I want to, my sense is I don't want to look at, but I would like to be moved over, up, yeah, not quite as close to the light. Yeah, better, maybe a little more to the right now. So I can see yeah, exactly, that's better. And then also I would like to be bigger. Cut into smaller. Okay, and now, yeah, again, maybe move a little bit towards the right and up. So I can kind of see besides the light to the perpetrator consciousness.
You want to look at the perpetrator energy.
Yeah, and at least maybe not directly, but more in that direction. No, yeah, up.
Toward
the perpetrator, but the perpetrator energy, the orange
square.
Perpetrator, I'm not that interested in, actually. Yeah. Ah, better. And I want to become even a little larger. Yeah, a little smaller again. Just one niche. Yeah, exactly. Ah, better.
This
and
is
if
how I know the application works, because you're so precise in feeling into it.
And for me, it feels even like I would want the perpetrator energy to be bigger. And the earth to be bigger. I know I can't change it, but that's
Earth is going to speak in a minute, so we'll see.
Oh, okay, good. And I'm a bit disappointed that Ancestor 3 has turned away in a way, like, you know, just looking down. That was disappointing to me. But that's about it for now.
Thank you.
Perpetrator energy wants to be moved a little bit higher, tiny bit higher, up.
Tiny bit up. How's that?
Is that okay?
Sorry, one more tiny bit up. There we go. There we go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ground, please speak to us.
Okay, so ground wants to be centered in alignment with light and larger. And I'm not sure where ground wants to be located yet. Up higher. Still a little bit to the left, more in alignment with, there we go. I think that might feel better. And then, yeah, bigger. Even a little bigger.
How's that?
I think that a little bigger, one more notch bigger. I think we've got it. The other thing I want to speak to is that the ground feels very much aligned with light. That's really ground's focus. At the moment, feels like light being aligned. Thank you. I'd have one other thing to say, I guess, which is that I mean, none of it sounds surprising. Ground feels very solid. Very solid. There's not been much internal, movement. Also very content. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before I go to Ancestor 3 and Victim 2, I would like to hear from Ancestor 2, who we have not heard for a while, who is the yellow at the top. Can we hear from Ancestor 2?
Yes, that's me. I have been just adjusting to all these different changes, and right now, after the ground got bigger, it feels much more solid. I would like to be a bit bigger. Yes, and directed a bit towards the perpetrator energy, but still and a bit to the right. Yes. There is still tension in my chest. But at least right now I don't feel cold. So that's what I'm feeling right now.
I want to make a comment that we have not brought in the trauma or the wound. And I am not sure that we need to. What do you think, Rasada?
I'm just also aware of time, but it's good to hear everyone before we.
Right, Ancestor 1 will need to leave in 10 minutes. So if you leave, we'll keep you on this. We'll keep you here, and then maybe somebody will take your place. before I speak to the two of you, I'd like to see from anyone who is not representing anyone, if you have a sense of something that is not showing up here that you want to share with us. And if there is anything that you are tuning in that you feel that you need to share with us. Anyone who is not representing yet. It's okay to, this is not an obligation. This is just and I want to say that we would have loved to have another perpetrator here. And right now we have only one. But it is what it is. In any case, if you do feel so, raise your hand and let us know, okay? Thank you. So we go back to victim 2 and ancestor 3. Let's start with victim 2.
Okay, so victim 2, well, for a long time, I've been wanting to be moved up and turn away. So to move up, close, kind of, yeah, just move up and turn it away towards the left and be bigger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, can be bigger. And can be a bit closer to the light.
How's that?
Yes, that's good. That's good. Maybe a bit smaller. Yeah. Okay. Oh, bigger now. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yes, that feels better. And I would really like if the light was facing upwards and if it was bigger, but I know it's not in my control. Yeah. So it feels really good that the earth is big and facing down. Okay. Thank you.
Ancestor 3. Thank you, victim 2.
It's just a small adjustment. I need to move a little bit down and to the left. Sorry, to the right, sorry. Yes, a little bit more down. Just a little bit. Yeah, perfect. And I need to look a bit more to the right. A little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Another little bit. Thank you.
Thank you. I will check in with 2 representatives and then we'll see if there is any kind of movements that can occur between certain representations. If there is kind of like a relationship that can be resolved here. The first one I would like to hear from is perpetrator energy. How do you sense yourself right now?
Well, so first of all, like ever since the grounding was introduced, I've been like completely connected with grounding and just like continuing that sense of like really deeply my energy moving down into the ground as a way of holding everything that's coming through, which is really quite intense. When I started out, like the beginning, I had this sense of wanting to be like really big and I was in my body and it was like my energy just really wanted to kind of dominate the whole board and kind of just like, you know, be this. And now I feel actually strangely comfortable in the size that I am, and that feels in no way problematic. It yeah, like that's sort of interesting to me. When the victim on the brown square, I feel a really strong, when that got bigger, and I felt this a little bit before with one of the other victims, the black one, when it was moving around, but now it's the brown one. I feel this intense, sorry.
The brown square is an ancestor, it's not a victim.
Oh, okay. Well, then with that brown square ancestor, I feel this really strong, let's say when it moved, I felt this really strong energy in my left hand and arm, like this real tension in on my left side. It's in my left hand and arm, and it's really strong. And like I've got this sort of some kind of connection with that ancestor that really became intense, and it's intense now. Especially when that ancestor just moved closer to me. And the other thing I just was noticing was that I'm not able, like it's interesting that I can now connect with that ancestor. I can't really connect with any of the other parts except for Earth. It's like I'm so, it's like I'm blinkered with this like straightforward vision that all I can do is just like watch straight forward, and I'm kind of tight within myself, but like that grounding I can connect with, and that's the only one. Like other than now the brown ancestor, I can't really feel, or I'm afraid to feel, or there's something stopping me from wanting to feel, moving into sensing a connection with any of the other parts. I probably could if I forced myself to, but the inclination is just to sort of really just have that really strong connection with ground, but now also feeling the brown ancestor strongly as well.
Thank you. Perpetrator, we'd like to hear from you.
I'm feeling a little lost and bereft in this current position, and I feel like I would be much happier looking directly to the right. Yeah, directly, yeah, there we go, 90 degrees. And then moved up between the light and victim 2. Straight up.
Way up.
Yeah, right there, yeah. And then to the left just a little bit. And a little more. And then a little bit bigger. Yeah, probably the same size as victim 2. And that feels great. Thank you.
Okay, so looking at the time, I'd like to give it another 15 minutes and then close this. At the most 15 minutes. Let's see if we can do it in 10. And I'd like to invite all the people who are representing to tune in and to see if you would like to, if you need something from another representative, if you'd like to say something to another representative, if you want to request something, okay? Just tune in for a minute. I would like to check in before we go to that. I forgot to check in with victim consciousness. Thank you, Ancestor One. See you.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, victim consciousness. Let us know how you are now with everything that has moved and changed.
Yeah. Everything is so dense now. Yeah. I felt I needed to be seen by the light. Yeah, and I felt like I need some space, and yeah, and I wanted to be seen by the light. Yeah, but on the other hand, this this dynamic between victim and perpetrator and the ancestor above is pulling me to come closer, maybe, to this dynamic. Yeah.
So
So
I
you
missed
can,
what was
yeah,
putting,
this dynamic that you see between the victim and perpetrator. Yeah. So you can put me next to the earth.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, you can make me a bit smaller. Yeah. Yeah. And I can go a bit up. Yeah. And slightly, yeah. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
okay.
Mm.
Answer to 3 and victim 2, are you raising your hand to say that you're requesting something?
Yes.
Or, yes?
Yes.
So when you share that, just say what you would like to ask for, and then we will see how this works out. So, victim 2.
I want to move. I wanted to move to where victim consciousness is. But so now victim
want
consciousness is there. I'd
something,
like to
I want
move to the other
things.
side of the light and to face the light.
Okay, we will do that, but I
Thank you.
don't want to move anyone else right now. I want to do something else. So this is the last move that we are doing in this moment.
Thank you.
And then we will see. Just the question again is, what would you want from, is there something that you would like to receive or to request from one of these representatives? Rasada, you can make a comment as
Yeah,
well.
thank you.
What would you suggest?
No, I'm happy to listen. Like many movements are just settling me or feeling these little tweaks feel important. That's my only main comment. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to just keep you listening to the field.
Ancestor 3.
I don't have a request. I just feel like I could say something to.
Would you
Is this
would you like to say something to?
to Perpetrator 1? I would like to know that I have a lot of empathy for Perpetrator 1.
Mm.
It's important for me that Perpetrator 1 knows that.
Mm.
And to the Perpetrator energy, I would like to say, I am here, but it's your process. It's up to you.
Mm. Okay. Okay.
The light. Yeah.
The light.
I know you're not doing moves, but I had a real big impulse to go up higher and maybe over to the right, looking towards the group.
Mm.
And I feel a lot of love and compassion And there, as far as words, there was just something that showed up, which is, I believe in you, but it feels to everyone.
So you want us to move you to the top looking down? Is that
Yeah.
what you?
Yeah.
Well,
And
that-
maybe a little over to the right so I can look at the whole group. Turning towards. Yeah. And a little bit over.
Over to the right.
Yeah, a little bit and a little bit higher. A little bit down.
Yeah.
Could we try one other thing to make it just in the middle down here?
There.
Yeah, yeah. And a little bit, just one, yeah. And if you could move it to the center. Yeah.
How is that for you?
Yeah, I'm just feeling it. It feels good.
Feels good.
Yeah, and maybe just a little bit bigger. A little bit bigger. Yeah, yeah.
Is there anyone who wants to step in for Ancestor 1? Right? She's left.
Mm.
Ancestor 1. Yeah. Is anybody wants to step in? Ancestor 1 is the turquoise square at the bottom. Perpetrator energy. Speak your
Oh,
mind.
yes. I wanted to just reiterate my very strong sense of connection with Ancestor 2. And then also, it's almost like this energetic connection I also have with Ancestor 1. Like I'm feeling this connection with Ancestor 1 as well. And that's kind of what I wanted to say to them in this moment.
We try to see what you want to say to them.
What do I want to say?
Yeah, what do you want to say to them?
I want to say to Ancestor 2, that I'm connected with you, that I really feel your energy. That we're connected. Yeah. And then to Ancestor 1, I'm not sure what I want to say to Ancestor 1. It's something that's developed. Now that I'm feeling into it, it's sort of developing as something, like it's now moving into my right. So Ancestor 2 is in my left hand, that connection really strongly. And as I feel into the connection with Ancestor 1, it's moving into my right hand. And I'm not sure what I want to say. It's a different type of energy, but I'm not sure what I want to say to
Let me
Ancestor
ask
1.
you one more clarifying question. Is like when you say I feel connected, do you feel belonging? Or it's a different kind of a connection?
Belonging. It's
belonging or affinity, or can you be precise, more precise about your connection?
I would say with Ancestor 2, it is a connection, I guess, meaning affinity, meaning like we're somehow holding, my energy is holding your energy, or I'm receiving it from you, or along those lines. Like I don't know exactly, but it's like, yeah. And then with Ancestor one, it's a more tenuous connection, but I just wanted to somehow felt compelled to name it, and I don't exactly know. It's not the same, but there's some connection there, and I'm not. I'd need to fill into it more to really know, but it's on my right side.
We'll get back to you if you need to say something more.
Okay, thank you.
Ancestor 2.
I have something that I want to say to the perpetrator energy, and it's, you don't have to run away and hide anymore. We love you and you are safe.
Mm.
Mm. You said it to perpetrator 1 or to perpetrator?
Energy.
With energy. What's going on, perpetrator energy? I see that. What's going
on? It's like something's melting, and I felt like this, something I've been holding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Something I was holding kind of let go, and like, yeah, sadness and grief and needing to protect and all of those things.
Mm. Can we move to someone else and come back to you?
Me?
Yeah.
Are you talking to me? Oh, yeah, yeah, totally, yeah.
Okay. Victim 1.
Before, I don't know whether I have the impulse to talk to the perpetrator energy, but it was just so, I felt like my whole existence depends on the perpetrator victim, on the perpetrator energy. And now when she was crying, I felt like, I'm not sure, but I felt like, oh, I could be free. I could drop I could maybe become somebody else, actually. When that energy melts, that was just, because before I felt really dependent, as though I'm there only because of that. Otherwise, I couldn't be there.
That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
so.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah, and that movement, that crying of the perpetrator now. Oh, I'm having goosebumps. Like, it's like as though there's a shift that is really like, it's shifting my existence, and I don't know what I'm becoming or what I'm turning into.
Yeah.
Even the symbol isn't right anymore. I feel the color isn't right, and
Thank you. This perpetrator 1 has a request for anyone or wants to say something to anyone.
Perpetrator 1 is moved by Ancestors 3's empathy and care. It softened me. And knowing that that's an ancestor speaking means that's ever present. So it's not just a dynamic, but it's ever present. So that does soften things. Perpetrator 1 is also very moved by what just happened with victim 1.
Mm.
When perpetrator energy, perpetrator 1 is actually observing this, but not totally changed by it. But when perpetrator energy wept and unburdened and shifted, and victim 1 said, wait, I was dependent on that, but not anymore. Like I just witnessed like a transformation. It's definitely affects, and perpetrator 1 is still, as you see, in a dance with victim 2. So perpetrator 1 is still attached to the particular dance moves of the dance with victim 2, but it feels a little bit lighter, and perpetrator 1 doesn't feel the need to move at all right now. Doesn't feel any strong relationship with ground, or ancestor 1, or the light. Does appreciate the light, but no strong relationship to the light either way, but does gentle appreciation, kind of neutral to ground. Victim consciousness like feels like a numb spot. There should be a relationship to victim consciousness, but there isn't. Perpetrator 1 does. It feels like there's numbness. It's different than neutrality. So there's kind of a block. There seems
My
seems
hand's
strange.
red. Oh, sorry.
Can you hear? Some people's sound is cutting out. Can you hear me?
We
Yeah.
hear you. It's just Karen can't hear.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, so yeah, no move needed. Still a little bit in that dance with victim 2. Maybe attached to that a little bit. Yeah. Anyway, that's a whole report there.
Wow.
So we have very few minutes left. Light has lost her sound, so she can't speak. And I asked her to write and see if she wants to say something. I would like to check with victim consciousness and see if she needs something or wants something or has a request of anyone.
Yeah, I feel somehow detached, and not connected actually. To the whole dynamic. So yeah. My first impulse, previously was to be somehow out of the picture, but overlooking it and also connected to the light. And there, in this connection, I feel is the right spot for me to be.
So you'd
in.
like to move now to the other side next to the light and to the
Next
corner?
to the light and above the light, overlooking the whole picture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Something like that.
And yeah, you can make me a bit smaller, and yeah, and maybe to the right, a bit to the right.
You're right.
Yeah. Yeah, and looking towards the center.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's take a minute to look at everything and take it in.
Oh.
And just and victim 2 wants to say something, and
Yes,
then
I want to move. I want to get away from perpetrator 1. I want to go the other side of the light. Behind the light.
I don't know if we should do that right now. I think not. I think we will leave it.
Or the victim.
Yeah, I think we will leave it. You have the light in your back.
Yes,
Like,
at least that's good. But
yeah, I don't think we will move you again. We will, yeah. And I will see what perpetrator energy wants to say, and then just we will.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I guess adding to what I was saying before, that so much of what I was holding for Ancestor 2, like the Ancestor energy from Ancestor 2. I felt like, so since whatever, I don't even remember what she said to me before, but it's like, I don't have to hold it anymore because somehow I've been let off that burden and I'm just letting it go to the earth. And it's moving more towards the earth.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Who is asking to oh. So I think that if we stayed for another hour, more things would have happened, but this is where we are, and a lot of things have shifted. If you remember where we started and where we are here now, a lot of things have shifted. And we will let it sink, and then we will come back to the room and have a little conversation about it, and then we will say goodnight.
I'm
I
going to
think,
stop the share.
and then Rasada, please share whatever you want.
I'm happy to stop the share and round off now.
Before you do that, I'd like to
Have a screenshot?
do a screenshot. Can you do that?
Yeah, sure.
Because it's not happening for me for some reason.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not happening.
Yeah, for me too. Not.
Maybe
Oh.
maybe it's
you
not
can do it
happening.
with your phone. I've done it with my phone off the screen.
Yeah, I can do it. I'll do it now. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to stop the share.
Wow. So everyone that has
Yeah,
renamed
I just had
themselves,
a quick question about releasing our roles when I've been in
yeah,
Constellation.
we're doing, this is what we're doing right now. This is what I want to do. So the first step is to rename yourself back to your own name. And then right, and now anyone who has been in a role, just let that role, thank that role for visiting you, because it's always there's always a gift in it. Just first of all, thank the role for its host, for what you have learned from it, for what insights you received. And then imagine that you are returning to your original size and leave the energy of the wall with the field, collective field. We just visited, and now we are living it there. We are part of it, but it's not a whole of us. And if you want to say something, Timothy, from your experience of how to do that, I'd always love to hear your insight.
Oh, yes. What I just said to myself was, I leave to this field what is yours, and I take what is mine, and I also take the gifts that I have received, those gifts that can serve all of life. And
Yeah.
so just kind of do a gesture and receive and, separate and move forward with those gifts. So, yeah.
Thank you. Victim consciousness cannot rename herself, so let me do that for you right away. We don't want to, you, but I don't, so you have to spell the name for me. Can you spell out, open your mic and spell it for me?
Yeah, I have written it in the chat.
You wrote it in the chat?
Yeah, I wrote it in the chat. Yeah.
Where?
You don't see it.
We don't see it.
I wrote my name.
Ah, there we got
Yeah.
it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
You see it? Ah,
Yeah.
here. Yeah, but
Jelena.
this is I already wrote because I remembered. But what was
Elena, it's all the way at the bottom.
at your last? Yeah, I wrote that. But all, you want your last name as well? Right, that's one I don't know. Okay,
Yeah.
let's see if I can copy it. Yeah, I
I've
think
got it. I've got it. I'll do it.
you're doing it,
Thank you.
but I did it.
Wow.
I did it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's go around and share any insight that you are taking with you from this experiment. Just let's do it quickly, just like in one sentence, not a whole story, but like a jewel that you're taking or an insight or something that
Go
impacted
for it,
you.
Melissa. Go for it.
Hmm?
I mean, the
Melissa
main,
wants to talk. Yeah. And maybe you can just hand it to someone else. Huh?
Right.
okay. I was touched by how things shifted for perpetrator energy when it was accepted. It was just really fascinating to watch that melt in front of us as it was accepted and appreciated. I will hand it to Paulina.
Thank you. The dynamic between the ancestors and perpetrator energy felt connected to in some way to my own history and family dynamics. So by seeing Deborah release the burden and release sadness and grief, it just felt like a bit of a premonition, maybe for also for my family. And I choose Deborah.
Hi. I actually don't. Maybe it's unusual for me, but I don't know know what to say. I was so in my role that I actually am super curious to hear, because I was like, it's almost like I was stuck in it and a bit not one-dimensional, but I was in there. I don't really have, of course, as other people have mentioned, what I personally experienced was really intense, but I couldn't feel most of the others. So I'm actually super curious to hear what everybody else has to say, more so than anything from me, because I think people are already saying anything I'd say.
I just want to say to you that you knew from the beginning, from the start, that this is your role.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just stay with that and let it inform you for the
Well, I can say something about that, that I've known that energy's been with me, even sending me to this lab. I don't know why that energy's been with me. It's like with no explanation that I can point to, I've had this really strong, it's actually been a male perpetrator energy that's been with me wanting healing for quite a long time. And it's come up in lots of ways. And when I was intuiting, you know, when the labs came, which lab to do, it sent me to this lab. I mean, you know, there were lots of other labs I would have that sounded great, but like this is the one it sent me to. And for some reason, this energy's, yeah. So for me, it was incredibly powerful, and it felt like somehow like such an appropriate and correct like culmination of the year that we've had together. So it was really a powerful experience. I'll say that. Yeah.
Thank you. So invite somebody else now to speak.
Oh, I invite Richard.
Yeah, it was interesting as observer to watch all the patterns. Kind of, I have quite some things that I see. I'm not sure if it's the time now. One thing that I would like to share is what I find fascinating, that all the circles ended up at the outside, kind of holding the space, and that somehow all the squares ended up in the middle without giving it an interpretation, but kind of seeing that as a... And it was also fascinating to see other patterns too. Another thing that I find interesting, that everybody was calling the green thing Earth, except Earth itself would call it ground. And it was also with the light. There was something like sun and light. So there were this kind of... Yeah, so that was interesting to be the observer and to be also see those patterns. So then I pass it on to Claudia.
We lost sound. We lost light. Karen is not here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So, as another witness, I wanted to share the power of movement, because like aside from what everyone was relating to, and the affinity that I felt with Ain, for instance, all the time that she was kind of defending her position that was very strong, in somehow like the whole thing of I think more the movement than the colors. I relate deeply with that, and also the power of the groundness, because when the ground appeared into the picture, the whole energy of the experience completely changed, and for me was very heavy in somehow, that the light was so little, even if it was located in the center. Yeah, I don't know, and somehow I needed like more, to feel, but at certain point I released, because like with all the rest of the roles, the energies were playing their part. So I think that I will have to work on this experience for quite a long time in order to really like kind of bring down everything that moved into me, only by witnessing. So I just wanted to say thank you to all for making this happen, and for you, Michal, for inviting us and making this possible. So
My pleasure. And you inviting?
yeah, and now I'm inviting Gita.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I guess I'm also still kind of reverberating with the energy there. It was so strong for me that I was so focused on this perpetrator energy, that my whole being wasn't possible without that. So the you know, the interdependence of that, like, you know, we talked about the drama triangle, I guess. That was so obvious. That was so obvious. Like, I can't even be there without that. That is still moving inside also, and I will take it, and, you know, somehow I don't know what will come from it, but I feel something is deepening in me about that. And it's also, it's like, wow, it certainly can't be understood by logic, you know, but it's like strong experience of some, whatever, interdependence in some way. Yeah.
Exactly.
Not even like personal guilt or something, but that it's all, you know, we're all part of the puzzle in a way. That's very strong. Yeah, thank you. It also, for me, I think it was a bit of a culmination of the lab. So thank you for that experience. And thank you, Rasada, for all the technological work you've done there. Thank you. So I'll pass it on, Andrea, to you. Andrea? I don't know.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Michal and Rasada. It was impressive. I had the feeling, a deeply frustrating feeling that something was unresolved at some point at the end between the victim and the perpetrator. And I felt, oh no, this cannot end. And then when Michal said you have the light behind you, at least, I understood that this is not actually about the game between the perpetrator and the victim, but about the entire constellation of helpers. And that in that sense, it's not everything can help if you just look around. And that was, so I understood that it's a process and it will never end. But at the same time, this whole movement was kind of like life. It's like vitality. And nothing is bad, actually. It's just life moving. But you have to move to see better. And I was also deeply reassured when some just felt that they can release identities, that they can be someone else, something else. That was healing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And you're inviting?
I will pass it to Sandra.
Well, I was my witnessing quality was a bit sleepy and tired. I felt it was challenging for me to maintain my presence and to be focused, and especially on the screen and the shapes, it was not easy. There was a moment where I felt quite drowsy, and there was a mantra that came up, which I don't really practice with mantras. I mean, very rarely. It's not my practice. But there was this mantra that came up, Om Mani Padme Hum, the Tibetan mantra. So I thought that is really surprising. And when you ask Michal about little jewels that we can take, what came up for me was paying attention to patterns, because I feel my way of being here is not only because I'm really tired this evening, but it's more than that. So Thank you for all your participation.
And see who you're inviting who hasn't spoken.
Yelena, have you spoken?
No, thank you. So I was drawn towards victim consciousness from the moment you read the roles, Michal. So yeah, I see you now. So yeah, I knew I would raise my hand to volunteer to be victim consciousness, and what I remember is I felt some lightness or something when I entered the space, and I felt when I was like when I how do you say when you made me bigger than others. Yeah, I felt such a relief. Yeah. And I was also surprised that there were no connection to victim consciousness at all from other participants and from other roles. Yeah, almost none mentioned victim consciousness. Yeah, even the light. Yeah, yeah.
Maybe it is in the shadow. This is why
Yeah.
they want bigger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this is all I can share now, and I'm passing on to Aine.
Anya. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
It was funny, this dance with Perpetrator 1, and I just felt I have to get away. I have to get away from this, and yeah, and then I could also see that I was wanting the light to be in between, or the earth to be in between, or like, and I was thinking, oh, I'm looking for a rescuer, you know, and yeah, and I was like, no, I just want to get as far away as possible from this perpetrator. But it was also like fun. It was like a kiddies game, you know, hide and seek or chasing or something, you know, and yeah, and yeah, it was really amazing to see what happened between the perpetrator consciousness and victim one. I thought, wow, it was, yeah.
It was between perpetrator energy.
Perpetrator energy. Sorry, perpetrator energy and victim one.
So who are you? Thank you. Who are you inviting? Who has not?
Who am I inviting? I'll invite Timothy.
I thought you wanted to be away from that room. Just us again. Okay, so it was fun. Like the perpetrator one was like acting, wanting to get in there and stir it up, and but what was the need of the perpetrator? To find a place of control and balance or safety, because the perpetrator one still was interested in the light also, which is interesting. So just but was like doing a particular dance. So the attachment came up. I was also struck by interdependence profoundly. You know, that also struck me. Folks have said a lot. I was also struck that the earth or the ground never looked at anybody else. They were looking straight down the whole time. Everybody else was looking in and engaging. And that made a lot of sense to me. That, you know, the power of ground, and just to be that vast space, a place where we can rest and lean on. Yeah, but it's humbling because where are, the parts of me that have been caught in perpetrator, or have been in those with those needs and those certain strategies to try to get needs met. So that is important to look at, I think. So those things that stuck out for me. Thank you. Appreciate it. And oh my God. And yeah, I do feel like this is a rigorous practice and a culmination and an advanced level of our lab. I feel like we graduated into something different than just a lab. And it's also difficult for me because of where I resist mindfulness, this is going to be difficult. So it's a rigorous practice of mindfulness, and of course brings all the gifts of that as well. So thank you. And I'm wondering if anybody else hadn't spoken. I mean, Melissa maybe, or Rasada.
No, Melissa, you haven't spoken, right?
I spoke first, but I do, as ground, have something to say. But Suzanne hasn't spoken yet, so
Yeah, Suzanne, go Suzanne. Yes.
thank you.
Right. Suzanne.
It was surprising for me. It was also clear from the beginning that I felt called as ancestor. And for me, I think the most striking moment was really to feel the clarity that came up when the perpetrator energy was named and brought in. That really, I feel like that's still something that settles in my system, and I think it's something that I will grasp further on. Yeah. So what difference it made. And then the whole process with all the moves happening was a kind of softening more and more into my heart. And feeling. Also, there was no kind of solution no final solution between perpetrator and victim energy, but just this immense empathy and settling into my heart and feeling a big step towards peace is really something very touching. And I feel grateful for this experience. Thank you for hosting it and facilitating it.
So Melissa, you wanted to say something?
Yes, thank you. I wanted to speak to what Richard observed about how the language I used was ground, not earth, and it turned out to be very specific for me because I saw it as a process and earth as an object. And so that term was really what I was channeling. And then on a personal note, I mean, what people are saying about how this is very much like there's so much learning through this that really is like the capstone for our lab. I really am grateful that you gave us this opportunity. And for me, I experienced a huge personal aha. Just this morning, I was working with victim energy, and that, Holocaust survivor history, Irish famine history, like victim consciousness runs big in my history. And this morning I was like, it's time for something different. And I knew as you named the roles, I was like, no, none of them are for me. It's witness. That's the role. And then when you asked for something, it was so clear. Well, we need ground. And that's me for today. And to have the opportunity to embody that was really a lovely experience. And I really, really appreciated to get that experience. Thank you.
So I want to say something about perpetrator energy, but before then, I'd like to ask Rasada if you want to say some concluding words.
Oh, I'm just deeply grateful. I feel like for me too, it was a kind of completion. I'm remembering Michal asked me to join her lab a year ago. So I feel like I've come around, and I'm really so grateful for all the jewels, and nothing is bad, and so many jewels you guys picked up on the way. So I'm deeply touched. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So before we started, Rasada asked me if I should not explain perpetrator energy. And I said that when I first started to facilitating constellations with victim and perpetrator in the room, like incest and all kinds of things, it was suggested to me to bring perpetrator energy. It was not explained to me. And I saw time after time after time that most of the resolution in the constellation happened through perpetrator energy. And I don't even know to tell you what it is because it's so much bigger than me. I just intuit that it is bigger than perpetrators and that it also belongs to the light. And that it is often the place where through the perpetrator energy, something shifts. And this is just something to explore. It is fascinating. To me, it was fascinating. Last time I facilitated perpetrator energy was a person who did not know who she was representing even. It was a blind constellation. She just stepped into it. And she was the key to the entire resolution of the constellation and the healing that came. So this is a gift, and it's for you to explore what it means, right? And I invite you to, if you facilitate constellations, that you use it and see what happens. So thank you again for showing up, for being with us the whole year, and we want to stay in touch. Tell us if something happens, if you discover something new. And to those of you who, this is the beginning of the day, have a very good day. And to those of you who are going to sleep, good night. And may we have a blessed life with lots of good energies. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was wonderful.
And thank you for representing so many cultures.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone. Have an amazing
Bye.
day. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.